Nanu Nanu, and welcome to the Fortress of Dorkness, the nerdy nexus for your geeky needs. I'm your host, Beth Damiano. Today on Cliff Notes, we're looking at Marvel Comics' Mr. Muscles himself, Wonder Man. Created by Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, and Don Heck in 1964, Simon Williams was the first character created specifically to become a member of the Avengers. His body is made up of ionic energy, giving him enhanced speed, strength, stamina, and agility, among other things. He metamorphosizes, giving him even more enhancements, including immortality and flight. He can also encompass his body in said energy, entering an ionic state. He is famously known in the comic world for being the source of the brain patterns Ultron uses to create Vision. He is also known for being a romantic partner of the Avenger Scarlet Witch. He's also famous for something else, as you'll unfortunately discover later on. His best friend is the X-Men Beast, and he's also good friends with Hercules, who helped launch his acting career. One of Marvel's strangest families has the unfortunate honor of having Simon in their family tree. Because of his connection to Vision and Witch, he is the real-life brother of Eric Williams, aka the villain Grim Reaper, the cerebral brother of Vision, the half-son of Ultron, the stepson of Joe Costa, a grandson of science of Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne. And because of his relationship with Witch, he's also connected to Quicksilver, Polaris, and Magneto. And because of Quicksilver's marriage to Crystal, he's also remotely connected to the royal family of the Inhumans, none of whom accept him. He also has a sidekick called Spider, a sidekick he never actually wanted. I knew it! Simon starts his comic book career as Baron Zemo's plant in the Avengers. Though he does fulfill his purpose and betray Earth's mightiest heroes, he realizes the error of his ways and dies fighting Zemo, who refuses to give Simon an ionic ray treatment that he ironically needs. This makes him the first Avenger to die in active duty. Sort of. A few years later, this is retconned into him being in a coma while his body metamorphosizes. At some point after his death, Hank Pym records a copy of Simon's brain patterns. Simon's brother, Grim Reaper, resenting the Avengers, teams up with Ultron to steal these patterns, which Ultron uses to create Vision. Yes, movie fans, you heard that right. Vision and Wonder Man are synaptic siblings. This is unfortunate, not cool, as you're about to learn. Kang the Conqueror briefly resurrects our esteemed hero until Immortus sends him back to the afterlife. Grim Reaper lovingly once again brings Simon back with the help of Black Talon. Simon, in a living brain-dead zombie-like state, rushes to the Avengers and informs them of Talon while accusing Vision of stealing his mind. Following this, Living Laser uses the Serpent Crown to restore Simon's consciousness. But of course it's under Laser's command. Nothing's ever that simple, is it? Beast, famously of the X-Men, knocks out Wendy, and his free will is returned to help defeat Laser. Ultron gets horny one day and decides he wants Pym to make him a bride. While he tries to get his rocks off, he sends Grim Reaper into the Avengers mansion, where he puts Wonder Man and Vision on trial to see which is his real brother. Which should be obvious, but isn't. Obviously, Reaper realizes his biological brother is his actual brother. He is defeated by the Avengers, who move on to dealing with Ultron and his Japanese love doll obsession. At this point, Simon develops a crippling fear of death. Duh! During this period, he becomes part of comic books' most highly underappreciated romance, BFFs with Beast. Wonder Man eventually overcomes his crippling fear of death, the only way he knows how, by dying. Again. Sigh. He is killed by Korvac during the aptly named Korvac saga, and then brought back to life, again. Wonder Man comes to terms with his rival for the Scarlet Witch's affections, and finally begins to accept Vision as a brother. Simon takes some time off to focus on his acting career, and at Hawkeye's behest, he becomes a founding member of the West Coast Avengers. And guess what happens? On the very first mission, he dies. But this is just a cop-out, as he reveals he's alive and well after. Grandmaster tricks the Avengers into fighting each other in the Contest of Champions. At this point, Simon dies again, but is revived by Thanos' side bae, Lady Death. During Vision Quest, the government deems Vision too dangerous and wipes his memory. Hank Pym restores Vision's body, but requires Simon's brain patterns to fully restore the android. Like the oversized baby he is, Simon refuses because of his love for the Scarlet Witch, who in turn loves Vision. Synaptic rivalry love bros. This leads us into the story Darker Than Scarlet. Immortus and Magneto manipulate Wanda to succumbing to her darker nature. The Dark Witch then proceeds to sexually torture and kill Simon before bringing him back from the you-know-what audience. You can guess how this wheel is turning by now. After this, Simon is thought killed by a negabomb, only to reveal he just went through another metamorphosis, and he's immortal. How convenient for him. But immortality can't stop Wonder Man from dying. after helping to form the team ForceWorks, Wonder Man once again dies on his inaugural mission. Morgan Le Fay alters reality, a reality in which Wonder Man returns alive in his ionic form. Wonder Man saves Scarlet Witch, who returns the favor by defeating Morgan and restoring order, re-killing Simon. Grim Reaper and Harkness bring him back from the dead at Witch's request, and the pair begin a new relationship. Simon and Bessie Beast then form the Second Chances Foundation, probably because Simon has had one too many. It later turns out he was embezzling money from his own foundation. What a classy guy. Somewhere in here, he hooks up with his side bae, Carol Danvers, who invites him to join the Mighty Avengers. Suddenly, Simon switches teams and becomes a villain of sorts, teaming up with his brother to form the Lethal Legion. He is killed again shortly after this, when time itself is erased. The Avengers in the past restore time and Simon. Another resurrection later, enter writer Brian Michael Bendis. Bendis' hate for Wonder Man drove him to shift the character's personality to be entirely villainous. In this Bendis story, Wonder Man scoffs at the idea of the Avengers and forms his own team, the Revengers. He then storms Avengers Mansion, successfully mind you, instilling doubt in the general public that the purpose of the Avengers is actually good. Shortly after, he is caught and imprisoned by his former heroic team, but at least he doesn't die. He does redeem himself after rescuing the Wasp, and joins the Avengers Unity Squad. He now claims to be a pacifist. Go figure. The X-Men Rogue then absorbs Simon's essence and powers into her mind and body. Hold your horses, because he's not dead. Yet. Well, maybe. His consciousness is still alive within Rogue, but given his wonderful history, his latest hiding spot is probably as secure as Avengers Mansion. And finally, around the same time the Divergent Earth 13133 is created, Simon dies, giving Scarlet Witch his essence to help her finish the spell by making out with her. Yes, you may count this one. If you haven't guessed it, Simon dies. A lot. In terms of comic book deaths, the guy could give Jean Grey a run for her money. This might be because most comic writers don't actually like him as a character, and his numerous demises have become a running joke in the Marvel Universe. Hilariously, DC once sued Marvel because Wonder Man's name is exactly 100% the same as DC's Wonder Woman, prompting Marvel to kill him off, legally. So even DC's taken a stab at him. His only other appearances have been in the two animated series, Avengers United They Stand, and Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. He also appears in a number of Marvel-related video games, including Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2, where the player has the option to fight him as a boss. You hear that? Now you can kill Wonder Man too! Everyone can kill Wonder Man! Matt, you can kill Wonder Man! That's all for today. If you like this video, found it thoughtful, or just want to leave a snotty remark, please like, subscribe, and follow us on our social media. I'm Beth Damiano, and you've been watching The Fortress of Dorkness. Never fear the dork up here.